Hello, everybody, and welcome to June of 1985. It's like we're in a time machine. This is going to be a quick video because I only read 2 books in June of 1985. You might be asking yourself, what the hell is wrong with you, Eric? Why did you only read 2 books? Well, I'll tell you. Because the 3rd book that I started in June was 1,066 pages long, and I didn't finish it until July. And the way I keep this list, I write the book down in the month that I finished it. A little bit of an odd note here. Let's say I'm reading a book on January 31st, and I'm getting to the end, and I just keep on reading, and we go past midnight. It's now February 1st, technically, it is. But if I finish the book in that sitting, I'll put it in January. Now, if I'm reading that book on January 31st and I go past midnight, and even if I've got just 1 chapter left and I go to bed and then I get up and finish it, it's going to go in February. For some reason, my cutoff is when I go to sleep. If I have 1 page left and I go to sleep and then I get up, I'm going to put it in February. I don't know why I would stop with 1 page left, but them's the rules that I made up, and those are the rules I follow. So, don't know how much of that 1,066 page book I read in June. I would say the bulk of it, but I finished it in July. And you're going to have to tune in next week to find out what that book was. But anyway, 2 books in June of 1985. The first one was Bio of a Space Tyrant, Volume 1, Refugee, by Piers Anthony. And this was... well, obviously the first of a 5-book series about, I have to look at my little notes here, Hope Hubris. And this is, it says Bio of a Space Tyrant, but it could be called Auto-Bio of a Space Tyrant, because it is in first person. Hope Hubris is the one telling the story. And Refugee is the beginning, obviously, and Hope Hubris is, an Hispanic refugee fleeing with his family, fleeing Callisto. They're going to Jupiter, where he will eventually become a space tyrant. But it's the story of the flight of Hope and his family. And this is much darker than the typical Piers Anthony stuff. There's a lot of rape and murder and all sorts of crazy things in it. It's a very bleak start to the Bio of a Space Tyrant saga. One thing that I do remember is they flee, the Hubris family flees in a bubble, a round spaceship. And this was the first time that anything I had read talked about the fact that if your spaceship is not going to enter the atmosphere of a planet, there's no reason for it to be aerodynamic. And of course, this sort of, I guess this came up in Star Trek The Next Generation with the Borg and their cubes. That's the best use of space. You have an aerodynamic ship, there are going to be places that, unless you've got mechanics in those little places, you're going to have wasted space in an aerodynamic ship. Generally speaking. But so Bio of a Space Tyrant was the first time I'd ever come across this idea that something, a round ship or a square ship, a cube type ship, is better for space travel because you can make better use of the space in your ship. Because again, if you're not going in the atmosphere, there's no reason for aerodynamics. Anyway, that's Bio of a Space Tyrant, Volume 1, Refugee by Piers Anthony. First book I read in June, or at least finished in June of 1985. The second book was The Son of Tarzan by Edgar Rice Burroughs. I've mentioned before that certain series, I want all the same covers, and the reason I do not have every Tarzan book is because I must have these covers. I absolutely love the artwork on these. And so I have maybe half of the Tarzan books, but I don't have all of them because I have yet to find them with these covers. I used to have a bunch of them. I don't even have the first one because I don't have a can't find it with this cover. I've read it multiple times, and I should probably just buy cheap copies as filler, so I at least have a complete collection, and then I can just get rid of them when I find them with these covers. But anyway, Son of Tarzan, and it's about the son of Tarzan. Korvac? Something. His name is something. Korak. There it is. So, just your typical pulpy Tarzan adventure story. I love this stuff. Just great fun. Nothing too thought-provoking. Just lots and lots of adventure. So that's it. That's the 2 books that I read in June of 1985. Bio of a Space Tyrant, Piers Anthony. Son of Tarzan, Edgar Rice Burroughs. And like I said, you're going to have to tune in next week to find out what that giant book was that I read. And I did read 6 books in July. So, slightly more interesting video, I suppose. Man, September looks like a bit. I'm looking at my list here. A lot of stuff in September, looks like. Anyhow, that's it. If you have any comments, questions, or corrections, I don't know what you could correct. Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about books. And please like, share, and subscribe. That's it for this week. And until next time, read more books.